What if seduction is not a loud and flashy act, but rather a subtle interplay of psychology and instincts? A woman seeking physical intimacy rarely states it outright. Instead, she conveys her intentions through barely perceptible body signals, changes in voice, and touches that linger just a little longer than usual. These signs are not random flashes, but systematic actions, sometimes conscious, more often unconscious, that most men, blinded by ego or impulsiveness, completely overlook. Here, a person with a Stoic mindset gains an advantage. Stoicism is not detachment from reality, but a deep understanding of it. A Stoic does not succumb to immediate impulses, but observes what is happening with clarity, wisdom, and composure. By relying on this ancient philosophy, you develop the ability to notice subtle signals invisible to others and act with confident calmness at the right moment. This is not just theory. Psychological studies support this approach. Behavioral research shows that attraction often manifests through micro-expressions, fleeting gestures, glances, and shifts in tone that signal deeper intentions. Women are particularly skilled at creating such nonverbal cues, testing a man's attentiveness without directly expressing their desires. So how do you recognize these signals without overanalyzing or misinterpreting them? In this guide, we will explore 7 significant indicators that a woman may desire intimacy with you, decoded through the lens of psychology and Stoicism. Each sign, if correctly understood, provides insight not only into her intentions, but also into your own self-control. Let's dive into this silent language of attraction. Stay calm, stay observant. A true Stoic watches and knows when to act. Sign 1. Prolonged eye contact. Her gaze holds more information than 1,000 words. Eyes truly are the windows to the soul, but they are far more than poetic metaphors. They are tools of communication, connection, and sometimes seduction. A woman's prolonged gaze can carry multiple meanings, from admiration to curiosity and desire. The key is to recognize these nuances with clarity and maintain Stoic balance. In psychology, the phenomenon of sustained eye contact is linked to increased oxytocin production, the hormone of attachment. When two people look into each other's eyes, neural pathways associated with intimacy and trust are activated. Consider how much is conveyed without a single word spoken. Unlike men, who often express attraction directly, women typically use more subtle signals, one of which is intentionally prolonged eye contact. Here, Stoic thinking becomes your advantage. An impulsive man might immediately interpret prolonged eye contact as romantic interest and act hastily. A Stoic, however, observes without judgment, interprets without assumption. Marcus Aurelius himself emphasized the power of perception over impulse. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Let's break down the components of a gaze from a woman who is physically interested in you. Duration. If a gaze lasts more than 3 seconds, it indicates a conscious decision to remain engaged in your presence. Softness of the gaze. Her eyes are usually relaxed, with less tension in the muscles around them. This is often accompanied by genuine emotional warmth or vulnerability. Dilated pupils. Though subtle, dilated pupils are an involuntary sign of attraction and heightened interest. Beyond physiology, there is also a game many women play, using eye contact as a tool of attraction. She may glance at you briefly, look away, and then look back again to see if you are still paying attention. This is a subconscious form of testing, a way to gauge your interest without the risk of rejection. How does a Stoic respond? You notice the gaze, remain calm, and return eye contact with quiet confidence. Do not break it nervously or rush into action. A gaze is not merely an invitation. It is a dialogue where silence speaks louder than words. Sign 2. Closing the distance. She finds ways to be close to you without asking permission. Proximity is one of the oldest languages of attraction. A woman interested in you may not state her intentions directly, but will communicate them through spatial signals. It is the art of approaching without asking, a non-verbal cue inviting closeness while still allowing for plausible deniability. From a psychological standpoint, humans have an innate understanding of personal space. Edward Hall, the founder of proxemics, identified 4 zones of interpersonal distance: intimate, personal, social, and public. When a woman intentionally enters your personal zone, typically within 45 to 120 centimeters, she signals comfort, trust, and often attraction. How do you distinguish casual proximity from intentional interest? Consistent presence. Does she find reasons to be near you repeatedly, even when other spaces are available? Body orientation. Pay attention to whether her body is turned toward you. Psychologists call this open body language, a subconscious indicator of attention and interest. Incidental touch. She may brush against your hand, lean in slightly during conversation, or position herself close enough for her presence to be physically felt. Stoicism teaches us not to react impulsively to these signals. Seneca's teachings on patience emphasize the importance of waiting for clarity before taking action. A Stoic man observes her proximity without immediately assuming desire. He allows her actions to unfold naturally, maintaining composure and avoiding hasty conclusions. A common mistake men make is overanalyzing proximity. The Stoic approach requires detachment, not indifference, but calm observation. When you remain balanced, women sense your inner stability, which often amplifies their interest. This happens because you demonstrate self-sufficiency, a rare and attractive quality in a world filled with reactive behavior. Another aspect of proximity is timing. If she moves closer during emotionally charged moments, such as while laughing or after sharing a personal story, it heightens the likelihood of attraction. By staying attuned to these shifts without verbal acknowledgement, you retain control of the situation and avoid appearing desperate or overly eager. Sign 3. Subtle touches. Her hands speak louder than her words. Physical touch is one of the oldest and most powerful forms of human communication. Long before the development of speech, touch conveyed everything from comfort to dominance and desire. When a woman desires intimacy, her hands become messengers, speaking volumes without uttering a single word. From a psychological standpoint, physical touch activates the brain's reward centers, releasing dopamine and serotonin, neurotransmitters responsible for pleasure and connection. Researchers have found that even brief, seemingly accidental touches can significantly enhance feelings of attraction and closeness. The key point: women are masters of subtlety when it comes to touch. Unlike men, who may be more direct, women often test boundaries with light, fleeting contact before progressing to more prolonged or deliberate gestures. Types of subtle touches to watch for. Accidental touches. These happen when she brushes against your hand, palm, or shoulder as if by chance, though in many cases, these touches are quite intentional. Emphasizing touches. When she places her hand on yours to highlight something in conversation, it signals both confidence and comfort. Playful nudges. A light shove accompanied by laughter often indicates flirting and an attempt to create physical chemistry. Prolonged contact. If her touch lingers a second longer than necessary, it's a strong indicator of interest. A Stoic response is to avoid rushing into reciprocation or escalation. Seneca's advice to accept pleasure without clinging to it applies here. Acknowledge the touch, but don't overreact. Your restraint conveys confidence and control, which often deepens her curiosity and attraction. Women are highly attuned to your reaction to their touch. If you flinch or pull away, you risk signaling discomfort or disinterest. If you react too eagerly, you risk appearing desperate. The golden mean, the Stoic approach, is to remain balanced and composed, allowing her to naturally guide the escalation of physical contact. An interesting psychological insight is the concept of reciprocal touch. When someone touches you, your brain is wired to respond with a touch in return. A Stoic man, however, masters the art of delayed reciprocity. Instead of immediately mirroring her touch, he waits for the right moment, reinforcing his self-control and calm dominance. In social psychology, this creates a tension that women often find irresistibly intriguing. By not immediately satisfying her subconscious desire for reciprocation, you position yourself as a man who acts on his own terms, a rarity in a world where most people are slaves to instinctive reactions. Sign 4. Change in tone of voice. Her voice becomes softer, more intimate. The way a person speaks reveals more than their words. In social psychology, voice modulation is considered a key indicator of attraction. When a woman desires a deeper connection or physical closeness, her tone subtly shifts. It becomes warmer, softer, and more measured, as if she is subconsciously creating a space where only the two of you exist. Think about it. Have you ever noticed the difference between the conversations of lovers and ordinary discussions? The words themselves may be mundane, but their delivery carries a unique energy. This is the vocal paradox of intimacy. The quieter the voice, the stronger its emotional impact. Psychological basis of vocal changes. A study published in Evolutionary Psychology found that both men and women naturally lower their pitch when speaking to someone they find attractive. A deeper, slightly husky tone signals warmth and reliability, while simultaneously stimulating dopamine production in the listener's brain. Women instinctively use this tactic without even realizing it, employing their voice to awaken desire. Recognizing vocal attraction cues. Here are the key auditory signals to look for. Lowered volume. If she begins speaking more softly, almost forcing you to lean in, it is not accidental. It is a deliberate attempt to create intimacy. Slowed pace. Speech that becomes more measured indicates comfort and the desire to hold your attention longer. Playful intonations. Pay attention to teasing or melodic inflections. Playfulness often masks a deeper flirtation, exclusive tone. When her voice changes in private conversations compared to group discussions, it is a significant sign that she perceives you in a special way. Stoic application. Staying grounded amid seductive voices. A Stoic man recognizes these signals but remains composed. The softness of her voice may trigger primal emotions, but you must resist the urge to overreact or jump to conclusions. Seneca reminds us, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." Be present in the conversation, perceive her tone, but do not let it cloud your judgment. By maintaining calm control, you project strength and emotional resilience, qualities women are deeply drawn to. Your composed demeanor demonstrates that you are not easily swayed by mere charm, but possess true self-mastery. Advanced Stoic tactic, mirroring without mimicking. While you don't need to artificially lower your voice, maintaining a steady, slightly slower pace in response creates harmony that deepens emotional rapport. This controlled response sustains a conversation filled with tension without displaying excessive eagerness. Sign 5. Playful resistance. She challenges you with teasing remarks and light-hearted jabs. Contrary to popular belief, attraction does not always manifest as sweetness or agreement. Sometimes, it takes the form of playful resistance, a psychological dance where teasing becomes a tool of seduction. A woman who flirts through playful banter is not just being witty. She's testing your ability to engage, hold your ground, and maintain balance. The psychology of teasing. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that teasing in romantic contexts is a form of relational play. It creates a low-stakes environment to explore chemistry and compatibility. Women who feel attraction often use light challenges to gauge confidence and emotional stability. Why does this matter? Because teasing is a double-edged sword. For a Stoic man, it is an opportunity to demonstrate wit, emotional resilience, and calm dominance. For an impulsive man, it can become a trap leading to defensiveness or awkward overcompensation. Signs of flirtatious resistance. Playful critique of your preferences. Seriously, you like that band? I didn't take you for that type. Light-hearted disagreements. I bet you couldn't last a day without your phone. Exaggerated sarcasm. Oh wow, Mr. Stoic isn't interested in anything, huh? The key difference between friendly teasing and flirtatious resistance lies in her delivery. If her eyes sparkle with amusement and her body language remains open, she's inviting you into a playful exchange, not attacking you. The Stoic response, mastering playful opposition. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Apply this wisdom by remaining unfazed in the face of her challenges. Smile, respond with calm humor, and turn her teasing into an opportunity to build rapport. Pro tip: never react defensively. Instead, reflect her playfulness with subtle confidence. Her, "Wow, you think you're so mysterious." You, calmly, "I prefer the term enigmatic, but you're close." By refusing to be thrown off balance, you demonstrate emotional mastery, a quality that not only intrigues women, but deepens attraction. When handled correctly, playful resistance becomes a shared adventure rather than a battlefield. Sign 6. The mirroring effect. She starts copying your actions. Imitation is considered the sincerest form of flattery, but in the realm of attraction, it is also one of the most powerful subconscious signals. Psychologists call this phenomenon mirroring, when a person unconsciously mimics the gestures, posture, and even speech patterns of someone they are attracted to. Mirroring is driven by the brain's mirror neurons, which are responsible for empathy and connection. When a woman begins to reflect your behavior, it is a strong indicator that she is subconsciously attuning to you, both physically and emotionally. Psychological indicators of mirroring: posture alignment. If you lean back in your chair, she may repeat the movement moments later. Gestural synchronization. Watch if she mirrors your hand movements or gestures during conversation. Speech patterns. If her tone, pace, or vocabulary start resembling yours, it's a clear sign of rapport. Emotional mirroring. If your mood shifts and she reflects that energy, becoming quieter or more animated, it indicates a deeper form of emotional alignment. Why mirroring signals attraction? From a psychological perspective, mirroring is a way to create subconscious bonding. By sensing her behavior with yours, she's essentially saying, "We are on the same wavelength." This tactic is rarely intentional, it is mostly instinctive. The Stoic approach: recognizing without manipulating. A Stoic man does not exploit this behavior, but acknowledges it as a natural expression of connection. Rather than reacting with arrogance or a sense of superiority, he remains humble and observant. Seneca advised, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." Apply this principle by maintaining authenticity. Even when she mirrors you, do not alter your behavior to test her further. This disrupts the natural flow of connection. Using mirroring for deeper connection. An advanced technique is positive reinforcement. When you notice her mirroring your behavior, subtly encourage it through warmth or humor. If she mirrors your posture, lean in slightly, as if sharing a secret, creating a sense of closeness. If she adopts your speech patterns, acknowledge it playfully. "Careful, you're starting to sound like me." By staying composed and leading with authenticity, you cultivate a dynamic where attraction unfolds naturally. Sign 7. Selective vulnerability. She reveals personal details she doesn't share with others. In a world where superficial communication has become the norm, true vulnerability is the currency of deep connection. When a woman starts sharing her hopes, fears, and secret dreams with you, she's not just keeping the conversation going. She's building a bridge of intimacy that extends far beyond ordinary social interaction. From a psychological perspective, vulnerability acts as a form of emotional investment. Research in interpersonal psychology shows that self-disclosure activates the same neural pathways as physical attraction, creating a sense of closeness and trust. But there's a nuance here. A woman who feels sexual attraction practices selective vulnerability, carefully choosing which aspects of her inner world to reveal specifically to you. Key signs of selective vulnerability. Exclusive disclosure. She tells you stories or shares thoughts with a preface like, "I've never told anyone this before," or "It's strange how easily I'm sharing this with you." Depth mismatch. In group settings, she maintains a more superficial level of conversation, but when alone with you, she quickly shifts to meaningful topics. Cyclical vulnerability. She reveals something personal, then pulls back to gauge your reaction before opening up even more, creating a gradual escalation of trust. Body language signals. During moments of vulnerability, her physical demeanor becomes more open. Direct eye contact, leaning in, hands open with palms facing up, all signaling physical and emotional trust. Epictetus taught us, the first and most important field of philosophy is the application of its principles, such as not lying. The second is the proof of these principles, such as why one should not lie. The third is the justification of the proof. When a woman demonstrates selective vulnerability, she is applying the first principle, choosing authenticity with you that she does not display with others. A Stoic man recognizes this as a privilege, not an entitlement. Unlike an unreliable man who may exploit her trust or overlook the significance of the moment, a Stoic understands the value of selective vulnerability as a rare gift that demands equal respect and awareness. The proper Stoic response. Reflected vulnerability. A Stoic's response is one of measured vulnerability, not rushed or exaggerated, but carefully chosen. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one, when she expresses vulnerability, respond not with empty reassurances or attempts to solve her problems, but with your own restrained authenticity." An intriguing psychological aspect of selective vulnerability is the phenomenon of emotional disclosure to a stranger. Studies show that people sometimes open up more to new acquaintances because the risk of judgment feels lower. However, a woman who feels physical attraction exhibits a different pattern. Her vulnerability is intentional and specifically directed, often accompanied by other signs of attraction mentioned earlier. An observant Stoic can distinguish between casual openness, as with a stranger, and selective vulnerability that contains an implicit invitation to deeper closeness. The former often has a confessional quality without sustained eye contact or physical proximity. The latter creates a moment of interpersonal tension, frequently accompanied by other nonverbal signals. The art of understated response. The secret to effectively responding to selective vulnerability lies in the art of not overreacting. As Seneca taught, most powerful emotions are cured by time and delay. Accept her disclosure without a dramatic reaction, maintaining warmth and understanding. Acknowledge, but don't attempt to compete in vulnerability. This is not a contest, but a dance, where each step should feel natural, not forced. When a woman entrusts you with her vulnerability, she's not merely sharing information. She's evaluating your emotional intelligence, your ability to hold space for her without judgment or the urge to fix her. A Stoic understands that strength is not in the display of power, but in the ability to be both strong and empathetic, a quality to which women are deeply drawn on both a chemical and intuitive level. Selective vulnerability is a unique form of trust, often preceding physical intimacy. It creates an emotional map of intentions without losing what psychologists call eloquent uncertainty, a beautiful space of possibility that a self-respecting Stoic never disrupts with hasty assumptions or actions. Remember, the moment a woman chooses to be vulnerable specifically with you, she has already distinguished you from most other men in her life. This distinction is not just a compliment to your character, but often a subtle invitation to see her fully, beyond social masks and mundane interactions. A Stoic accepts this moment with gratitude, not entitlement, allowing intimacy to develop at its natural, unforced pace. We have examined 7 subtle psychological indicators that reveal a woman's desire to deepen a connection. However, it is important to remember, understanding these signals is not about chasing a prize, but about appreciating the delicate dance of human connection while remaining true to your essence. A man who follows Stoic principles does not recklessly pursue the gratification of fleeting desires, nor does he cling to ephemeral pleasures. He observes carefully, reflects, and makes deliberate decisions. In a modern world obsessed with instant gratification, his measured and intentional approach stands out. This inner strength attracts far more than any elaborate compliments or ostentatious gestures. As Marcus Aurelius stated, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. The same applies to attraction. Stop seeking approval from others and focus your efforts on cultivating depth, purpose, and authenticity within yourself. The right people will naturally gravitate towards you. So, when you notice the signs mentioned, remember that your power lies not in a spontaneous reaction, but in responding with unwavering confidence. Observe, appreciate, and maintain self-control. If you found this guide useful, please like, leave a comment, and subscribe for updates. Stay steadfast, follow Stoicism, and see you next time.